Hi, good morning, everyone, viewing and our friends and Facebook fans. It's Danielle Fitzhugh with the Chesterfield Chamber here in Chesterfield, Virginia. And this morning I have Kaisha McCrea with Growing Perspective Career Consulting. And, career consulting, we've got a lot of people thinking about what are my next steps? What are we doing? What should I be doing? So, Kaisha, thanks for joining us this morning. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about Growing Perspectives?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you for having me. And I just want to say just a little bit about myself. I'm the owner of Growing Perspectives Career Consulting Company. I'm a career coach, a career consultant. I'm very passionate about helping people move forward in their career for more growth or determine what they want to do next in their career, as well as helping them find their next jobs. So, Growing Perspectives, we're focused on helping people successfully manage their careers for growth and also for transitions. And that transitions can look like landing the next job or growing in different areas of their career in addition. So we often have to transition several times in our careers. So I'm prepared to work with career professionals to do that successfully and also provide resume writing also.
Okay. And so, what does today's environment look like?
In terms of jobs,
we got lots of people looking for jobs. We have lots of companies that have job openings. Pre-COVID, I tended to say there was a mismatch on where the potential employee was versus where the job was. I don't see as much of that now. In fact, many jobs have converted to, I've been able to figure out remote working. What are you seeing? What kind of inquiries are you getting? What's sort of the information on the street as it relates to what careers people are looking at and having questions about?
Sure, absolutely. So in general, the market is opening. So there's more opportunities out there now than it was when COVID first started, in the middle of COVID. So this is really the reopening stage, and people are considering, what do I want to do next? Or it's time for me to get back out in the market and looking for that next job. So what I'm hearing is there are some people that are still unemployed. They're ready to jump back in. They need some help moving forward. So they need more success, but they want to get back into the market. And I think their interests and plus the job market opportunities is a perfect combination. So now is the time. If your phone wasn't ringing or the emails weren't, being returned as quickly earlier in the year, now is a prime time to start applying even more often, networking even more often to move forward for the jobs that you want. I am also seeing what you said, more flexibility by employers for their employees to be remote. Different jobs now are being posted as being able to be remote or needed to be on site. So just from the beginning, employees now have more flexibility in their job search. They can quickly see which jobs are possible for them to do remotely. And I think employers have also understood their productivity level is still very high when workers are able to work remotely and have that balance.
Now, you mentioned also that you help potential employees with resume writing. And, I know I've gotten a few inquiries from friends and members who maybe they were affected during the pandemic because of the hospitality industry was decimated during COVID and really are just having to reset. But they possibly have been in the industry 5-10 years. Let's start with, how often should people kind of revisit and update their resume?
Every year.
Every year.
You should look at your resume every year because often in our jobs, we do have new experiences, we have new accomplishments every year. And when I say look at it, that doesn't mean you need to redo everything. That means in that current job that you're in, what do you need to add to it? Did you complete any new training courses? Did you complete any certifications? Did you join a new committee, for example, and you were in a leadership role? That should be reflected in your resume moving forward. So every year, that's a good annual checkup. And you can look at it in that sense, an annual checkup for my resume, because sometimes we can move so quickly, we can forget to capture some of those successes that we've had, as well as expanded responsibilities or changes in responsibilities.
Okay. Now, I have known people who interview for the sake of interviewing. So I'm going to leave it that simple, right? They don't want to have those interviewing skills sort of fall by the wayside because they've been in a position for a couple years. And it's like, I just got to make sure that I keep all my, skills on point and, they just put something out in the market. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think if done with caution, that's a good approach. I think that the caution that I would express would just be, consider the other side as the potential employer. And you were never a serious candidate. You knew that going in. And what if this employer really was interested in you? You possibly could damage a relationship down the road.
Yeah,
So
I think
I
that's
think
a lot of time to be able to just sort of interviewing takes
it
time.
It is. And there's ways you can do that without going into an actual job. So I would recommend for people, it is good to have practice, and you can practice with your colleagues, coworkers, friends, and you can review. You can look at a job posting and you can practice. You can practice online. You can practice with different groups, also with interviews. So that's a way. It is important to keep your skills fresh in terms of interviewing, but it is a lot of time and preparation, as you mentioned, to go through that. So I would recommend practicing that on the side. And then if you wanted to test your marketability out there, you can definitely post for jobs. It's always good to see your net worth, so to speak, in the industry, and you can still post for jobs of interest, um, just to test the market. That's a good habit also.
So I've had a few people have conversations over the years and even more currently that, they're at this transition mark in their life, right? So maybe they were home for a period, like now, maybe they're home because of virtual school and they left the workforce. So their numbers that indicate specifically for women at the mass exodus out
Yes.
of the workforce
Yes.
because of the conditions surrounding the pandemic. And so, we would like to think going forward, some of that workforce will come back. Some of the exodus that we have seen in numbers will come back. And so it's an opportunity for people to go, okay, what do I want to do when I grow up? Maybe I wasn't in the job that I love. So I've now got to figure out that next step. How do you help potential employees sort of navigate through, what do I want to do when I grow up? What's that passion? I'm always telling people, figure out what you love and figure out how to make money at it. But that's a really hard thing to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, how I work with employees to find their path on what they want to do next, it is more of a 4-step, 5-step process, but I start with some of the elements you just said. So, taking some self assessments and some self inventories around what do they enjoy doing? What are they good at? What do they want to do? So, that's step one, really understanding what their strengths are also and understanding their experiences. So, doing some self assessments and understanding where they want to go. And then from there, working with them, if there are any gaps in where they want to go and where they are today, then we will work on some action plans and steps to close those gaps to help them. just be a stronger candidate. Because most definitely, if you want to shift to a different career path, you should be able to leverage some of your transferable skills is one approach as well. And then skills that you don't have, how can we acquire some of those? It could be in your current job, it could be in external activities, but try to close the gap where we can there. And then also working with them to network within that industry that they want to move into. So some more homework around the industry, the company, colleagues. So it is more of a 5-step approach to help them move to where they want to, but it definitely starts with some initial assessments and then building forward to that next job and that next industry that they want to move into.
So it really is kind of a purposeful plan
Absolutely.
to enter, whether you are entering the workforce or whether you are just looking for that next opportunity and you're currently employed. You really just want to make a plan so that you have the best successful outcome on the other side of that. So, for those of you that might thinking, now is the time, it's an employee market, right? So lots of employers are looking for their next best candidate. I'd like to liken it to the housing market right now. It's a seller's market. And so, for those employees who might be thinking about a transition or the next step, don't be quick in making this next jump. Sort of give it some time so that you can have the best outcome. Now, do you help potential employees with navigating through offers and what opportunities might be out there as well?
So I have not spent as much time on that end. Usually I'm helping them to get to that next step, to land those interviews and start exploring. I have helped a candidate determine really to negotiate on the offer.
Yeah.
So helping them understand, okay, this is what you want, and being flexible, understanding that everything is just not the salary. So letting them see the complete picture. These are other elements that you can also negotiate. So yes, I can definitely work with clients to help them when they get that offer around, okay, if this isn't perfect, what else would it take for you to move forward if this is the opportunity that you want? So I can definitely work with them at that final step. Absolutely.
And so let's go back and let's talk about growing perspectives from the beginning. How did all of this start?
Yes, yes. So Growing Perspectives is an initiative. My company came to me because of my interest in helping career professionals be successful. My target audiences are really mid-career professionals, which you've talked about, those people that are looking to transition, whether changing jobs, changing industries, and the early career professionals that are just coming into their career. And it's so much that they may not be aware of, and they're trying to advance and learn a new culture and build their brand all at the same time. So I remember going through that, and I remember both stages. And I remember especially being an early career professional and not having a roadmap, so to speak, and saying, man, it would have been a lot faster if I knew to do this or to do that, work on my network earlier.
Right.
So I wanted to help people be able to come to a resource like myself and speed up that process, be more successful in their career, have access to more tools and more techniques that they can use. And also, when they feel stuck in their career, that they have an outlet, someone that can work with them to help them move where they want to go. Because sometimes at mid-career, you may not get that full attention that you would have received in your company and in certain companies earlier in your career. So that's what caused me to start Growing Perspectives. I have a love for coaching, and I started in that space about 10 years ago. And that's why I started Growing Perspectives.
So you mentioned something that kind of triggered we've been talking about potentially going to your next employer or future employer, but perhaps you're just continuing to climb that corporate ladder within your current employer, right? So we talk about ceilings and getting to the next step, but you also might want to work with growing perspectives when they're just trying to get to that next level and are not quite sure how to do that within their own organization that they currently already have a relationship with.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I would say also working with me as a career coach and a career consultant, I can also help you, number one, what you just said, grow in your career to that next stage within your current company, and also help you address any other blind spots that you might not be aware of in your career path that sometimes you want to work on it and sometimes you're not aware of it. So having this outside perspective, also helps you continue to grow personally in your career also.
Yeah, I can remember it's been, 10 plus years ago, and I was an adult college student. And I can remember a mentor telling me, Danielle, you've got to go back and get your 4-year degree. You don't need it today. But you never want someone to look at it and go, you don't have it when you go for something.
Absolutely.
In the industry that I happen to have been in. He said, you never want it to be a reason why not. And I mean, it was true words. While I probably did not get any position because I had it, it certainly was not seen, it would not have been seen as a plus for not having it. So I think there are ways to work with, I worked with a coach years ago who can help you pull things out of you that you didn't know were in you as well. I think employees, especially really good employees, get comfortable in doing the work because it's meaningful and passionate and may not be thinking about that next step. So I think it's always good to work with a coach probably several times within their careers, their working time frame, just to go, okay, are we comfortable? What are we looking for next? Do you get some of that too?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I get some of that. And I also get sometimes people that they know that they want to do something different. They may have wanted to do something different for several years. And helping them understand what that is and what's really holding them back from moving forward. So often it's not just what's on the surface. There's some other layers that need to be addressed to move forward. And so most definitely, I can definitely see that with the comfort, but they still have this desire to move to the next step. And it's exciting to help people move from here to there to help them reach their goals and help them reach their aspirations.
And it's scary too. I mean, we're talking about change. Yes. We're talking about taking a leap into something different. Yes. That has an income effect, hopefully positive, but you never know. And so that becomes a scary decision to make. So you need a sounding board, a safe space, a neutral partner to help you kind of navigate those waters on the career and coaching front of really helping you just miss some of those mistakes along the way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And sometimes growing perspectives is also around, we've talked about it, but really increasing people's awareness, the professionals' awareness, just giving them other viewpoints as well, other perspectives. So growing their perspective on their career, their options, themselves. As often it's, also increasing how we view ourselves and what we're capable of doing, the possibilities, and helping people see that.
So let's talk about, I know you've got to have some good stories, right? So the mistakes, and we will take care of the people. We will protect the innocents. No names here, but what do you find, like, what are some of like the worst case, you get a call, they hadn't thought to reach out to you soon enough, or, I mean, you've got to have some good stories because you are talking about people, you're working with people, and I always say it's the messy people business. And this is just one aspect of the messy people business. You've got to have a good story out there because, gosh, I really wish they had done something differently.
Yeah, I think probably the messiest story that I would say is waiting. When you know you have an issue, you know you have a concern, and waiting. And I know you've talked about the factors that lead to that. Sometimes it's fear, sometimes it's self-doubt, but not being willing to move and take the step. You know you have a deadline coming up, but you've not moved on it. And you have to want to do that for the next step. So I think that's probably one of the messiest things that I can see. It's like, okay, I know this is coming up and you know this is coming up. Okay, so what's going on? And they're still in that space. Mm-hmm. So that's probably the messiest thing, is really pushing people to, you've got to push past and push through some of the fear, some of the doubt, and you've got to move to where you want to go. It's not anyone else pushing you to get there. You want to be there, and I'll help you get there, but you've got to move. And I think that's probably the messiest spot. And when you see it, it's like, you got to go. Come on, you can do this. But that person has to want to do that as well. To take that.
I could think over the years, you've watched, everyone knows someone they waited too long to transition. They should have seen the writing on the wall, and you're like, why didn't we make a change earlier than that? So time is money, right? And that's so if you wait too long, it could cost money. So I would say don't wait. If you're thinking about, trying to make a plan to move up in your company, if you're thinking about doing something different career-wise, or you just want to be prepared for the future, Kaisha and her growing perspectives can help you kind of navigate that space on preparing for your next step.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I like to tell people, you never know when that next opportunity could be around the corner. So you want to be ready. And you can only be ready if you've started preparing. You can't wait. It may be gone in another month or 2 months.
Yeah, I like that. Being prepared for your next opportunity so that you can take advantage of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. Any last parting words that you want to leave our viewers with that maybe I didn't touch on or pull out of you?
The only thing that I would share would be you have limited opportunities in your career. And I really want to share with career professionals that you have options. So just what you said, Danielle, if this is something you've thought about, this is always good insurance, so to speak, to be ready when opportunities come. Just be ready to move forward. And so I can be reached on Facebook, I can be reached on LinkedIn, also Instagram. And I recently started a podcast called All Things Careers with Growing Perspectives. So feel free to contact me. I would love to work with you and hear where you want to go. And that's my role as a coach, to help professionals reach their goals and aspirations.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you soon.
All right. Thank you, Danielle.
Bye.